Alright guys, so in this video I'm going to show you how to change the alternator in a 2017 and earlier Expedition and a 2014 and earlier F-150. So go ahead and pop the hood. Alright, so the first step is to remove the air intake here, this big guy. So it's this bolt here and this bolt here. Now I told you a minute ago they were 10 millimeter and I was wrong. I think they're 8 millimeter, so let's go ahead and do that. When you put these back on, just notice there's these little, on these hose clamps, there's a notch that goes right in the right spot, and both of them have that. This other one's right here. So make sure you keep the notch in the right spot when you put them back on. So just set that piece aside for now. Next, we're going to take off the serpentine belt. So to do that, take a breaker bar and stick it in the belt tensioner here, and then you're going to want to push to the right as if you're tightening it. That's going to lower the belt tensioner and give you some slack on the belt so you can pull it off the alternator. Alright, next we've got 4 bolts we need to remove that are holding on a clamp that holds the alternator down. So one at a time, got to break these with a ratchet and take them off. 3 of them are just standard bolts with a washer underneath, and the 4th one is a stud with threads sticking out at the top too. On the stud here you might need an open-ended wrench or a box-end wrench, or you can use a deep socket, something so you can reach the top of the bolt over the stud sticking out. Once you got those out, you can remove the clamp and set it aside. Next we're going to take off this plastic cover, it just unclips on the back. We're going to unscrew this nut. It's holding down the cable that runs to the battery. Now you can detach the wire, and next we're going to remove these 2 bolts that are holding the alternator in place. You don't actually have to remove them, you just have to loosen them a little bit. There we go. You'll see the alternator move once you get them both a little bit loose. There we go. Now it's ready to lift it out. Then you can press on the plastic clip to get the power cord out. Those clips I was talking about, right here. So you kind of got to push on this tab right here while you pull on the whole thing to get it off, I believe. Let's see if we can do that. Now that I got some pliers, I'm going to see if I can just push on this a little bit harder and pull this tab out. Next, let's check that we bought the right one. They look the same to me. We got to check the connectors on the back, make sure they are same ones. So in both cases we've got 3 pins. That looks good. We've got the same connector on the top. On the bottom we've got a spot for 2 bolts for it to just sit on. Looks good to me. I think we got the right one. And again, you can find a link to this in the description of the video. So we're just gonna line up our connectors with the square part toward the outside, poke it down in, and that's it. Nothing real tricky about that part. Now we can set her in place right on those bolts that we previously loosened. There we go. Next you can go ahead and tighten those bolts that it rests on. Okay, and the other one. Yep. Once you've snugged those up, you can go ahead and reattach your power cable. Go ahead and torque it down. And now you can reattach the clamp. All the holes should line up. Go ahead and start all the bolts by hand and grab your ratchet to snug them up. If you got an impact gun, that works fine too, just a little faster. Remember, you might need an open-ended wrench or a deep socket or something to put the stud in. Alright, now we're about ready to put the serpentine belt back on. So to do that, we're going to put our breaker bar back in the belt tensioner and crank it to the right to give us some slack. Go ahead and thread your belt back up, making sure the ridges are all lined up in the right spot. Alright, next we're going to put this snorkel on that connects the throttle body to the air filter. There's just some regular hose clamps you can tighten down either with an 8mm or a screwdriver or something. Make sure the little slots on the clamps line up so that they tighten down the right spot. Once that's back on, now we can go ahead and hook our battery back up. Always put the positive on first, tighten it up. After you got the negative on, well, we're ready to start it up. See if it works. There we go. Alright, thanks for watching, guys.